Good evening and welcome to episode 22 of our Eagles Nesting series. Well, we're all staying at home to stay alert, to control the virus, protect the NHS and social care, and save lives. And looking back at some of our most historic games throughout those amazing seasons of years gone by for our Eagles and the franchise. We had some great guests on the show. Great to hear from Scott and Ian about the 2013-14 season, but now we have jumped ahead. We are now into the 14-15 BBL season, and it was a year when, well, there was some consistency, but certainly some exciting new blood coming into the team, and some which had some impact for many years to come. One in particular, and it's great to say that he joins me now. So I'm very pleased to welcome, joining us all the way from the USA right now, Rahmon Fletcher. Welcome to the Nesting.
Thanks for having me. I've been following these series, and I'm pretty impressed, to be honest. And I was just waiting for my time to come.
Just waiting for your turn. And
yeah.
Well, we're here now. It was like when I was talking to Drew the other week. It was a case of we've been talking on WhatsApp and on Facebook and stuff like that throughout the lockdown, and it's trying to get to that season where it was like, when can I actually get you on the show? Right. And now we're into the Feltch years. So first of all, where in the world am I talking to you now, and how are you getting on and how are you doing in lockdown?
So I'm in Colorado right now, and it's crazy. Things are starting to open up right now, and things are starting to get rolling, and stuff is starting to feel more normal. But at the beginning, when we first got home, it was tough. It was tough because you're so used to, I associate home with summer break versus home and just sit and I have nothing to do. So, but things are starting to turn around a little bit. We're able to work out. We're able to move around. We're able to actually eat inside and outside in places like that. So, but with this stuff that's happening this past couple of weeks, things are really kind of, getting out of hand as well. So, I mean, it's a different type of world right now, but we got to adjust.
Well, it's great to hear from you, and I do hope that you and all your loved ones, everyone there, are well and doing okay right now. We want to talk about your time with the Eagles. Kind of in total across all of those 5 seasons as an Eagle, but tonight in particular on this episode, looking back at that first season. I mean, tonight, the game that we're going to show after this interview, as you've seen hopefully in the series with the way that we're doing these chats, we're going to, on our YouTube channel, give people to watch the 2015 BBL Cup final. I mean, first of all, if I can get you to cast your mind back, and I mean, a lot of fans might not even necessarily know that, but in the season before you played for the Eagles and joined us, I think you were playing anywhere, and then before that you were in the Dutch league. Is that right?
Right. So the year before I actually got to Newcastle, I had to sit out a year because of agent stuff, and I mean, it's everybody kind of knows, but I didn't play that entire season. But the year before that, I was in the Netherlands, and it was a different situation because I haven't played basketball, competed in basketball in over a year, probably 14 months or something like that. So for Fab, Dave, Paul to take that chance on me with the confidence in me, knowing if I was going to be in shape, if I remember how to dribble the ball, how to shoot a ball, or anything like that, and especially coming into a team that pretty much was already established with a lot of veterans, and only young guy really was Scott. He was going into his second year there. So it was a different experience, especially coming from not playing that year before, which I was really, really hungry to play.
Coming into the Eagles, how much did you know about the BBL, the club? I mean, I kind of would want to say if you could go back to that season before you talked about when you first joined us, like what would you tell yourself if you could? Hopefully it's still signed the contract. But what would you say to yourself back at that point, knowing what you know now through the 5 seasons that you've had in the BBL and the success that you've had?
To be honest, when I came in, I was open. I was just excited to actually be on another team and actually be back overseas and not working, because I was working at Foot Locker at that time. So I was just happy to play. So if I could go back and tell myself, I'll do the same thing again. I think it was the right decision for my career. I think it was the right decision for my growth on and off the court as well. So, and I didn't know much about the UK at all, anything. Only thing I knew that was different from the Netherlands, that people spoke English, and that was a big thing for me. Anybody that plays overseas know how big that is. So I think if I could go back and tell my younger self, I was 25, 26 years old when I came, I don't think I would change anything, to be honest.
You mentioned the language. I mean, we spoke at the very start in one of our post-game chats after you just come back to the Eagles. I remember saying it's great to have you back.
Right.
That year overseas, you mentioned the language again in that interview. Was that when you went abroad for that year? Was that the thing that made the big difference between the decision to come back to the UK?
For sure. I think that was, one of the top reasons. And also another top reason was the interactive of the entire city and the stuff after the games, the signing the autographs with the kids and doing interviews and doing, stuff like that. And in Slovakia, we did nothing like that. We just played the game. After the game, shook hands with the opposing team, went to the locker room, went home. And it was just constant, just like that. And then when you're so used, I did 3 years of post-game, taking pictures, doing autographs, and talking to kids and stuff like that. We just didn't do that. And that was a big culture shock for me, going to Slovakia. And it was one of those things that, to be honest, I missed. And one of those things that gets you through from being away from family and stuff like that. And it kind of hides away from being overseas. So I think that was one of the biggest things I missed.
You said that you'd seen some of the episodes in the series before.
Yeah.
Another Eagle that we had on, I think it was last week. It only occurred to me actually when we were recording that episode, and I was looking back at that team photo with him, that Malik Cook, who obviously went to go on and play elsewhere around the world, he wore 44 as well. And I always thought to myself at the time, I was like, I wonder what number you would have worn if you'd have joined at the same time as he was already on 44. Like, why 44 anyway? Why that number?
So I have 2 best friends, Leo Lyons and Quentin Day. We all play overseas. And the oldest one of us, it was the guy that we looked up to in high school and middle school and stuff like that. Quentin, he wore 44 all the time. So we all wanted to do something that, no matter where we are in the world, that we always are reminded of each other when we're always combined it. So 44 was it, and it stuck. I was just hoping the jersey wouldn't be too big, because Malik is a lot bigger than what I was. But initially in college, I wore 20s, but I mean, for obvious reasons, I couldn't wear 20 with Newcastle. So, but I'm glad 44. I like 44.
Well, I mean, after pulling on that 44 jersey, you've really gone on to become what I think is probably it's fair to say, our most loved Eagles players, with numerous supporters clubs, MVPs, annual awards, players, the player awards. How does it feel to get all of that love from our fans? I mean, it always feels like there's an extra loud cheer, the roar when, Howard is alongside me at courtside on the table, reading out, Rahmon Fletcher. It must give you a real buzz and an extra lift knowing that's
for sure. When you play sports, or when you do anything professionally, you always want that reassurance of the job that you're doing it the right way. And I feel that, growing up, I've been playing basketball since I was 5 years old. You always look for that reassurance, like, am I doing well? Is this person happy? Is this kid happy? Is the owner happy? Is the coach happy? And you get that reassurance, especially because basketball isn't the biggest thing in England. It's not as big as it is back home. So for people to recognize what you do, the hard work you go into, the thought process that you do day in, day out, that's a really big buzz going into games.
We're hoping to get one of your fellow players. In fact, I'll jump onto the team photo here just to take
All
you
right.
back for a second. I mean, yeah, this is your looking very cool there on the front row, Fletch. By the way, but this is your
tired.
first season.
I look tired.
Team photo
Oh, man.
from that 2014-15 season.
Wow.
Opposite end of the bench, we've got Andre Jones, who's hopefully going to join us on an episode in the coming weeks.
Yeah, he was my roommate. Dre was my roommate that year.
Is that right? Well, I think coming
Yeah, we
into
were
this
roommates.
season, I think that was the thing. It was like there was an element of fresh blood. Scott say hadn't been around the program that long. Going into his second season. I was just going to say, what was it about this team that you think that really made it click in 14-15? Because you all made your own contributions, but
Right.
hadn't been playing together for as long as you personally had when you get into the third time you won the BBL Cup with us.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing with that team that we had the perfect balance of veteran leadership. And like you said, the new guys that were coming in that actually were willing to learn from the Scotts, the Drews, the D's, the Fabs, the Chucks, the Stewies, and the Tomos, and not coming in as if we had a whole lot to prove to them, or we wanted to prove to them that we can play or we can keep up with them. It was more of, we just wanted to fit in. We just wanted to fit in because the year before they were successful. They always been successful. So we didn't go into with the mindset of, all right, they're missing, they need a point guard, they need a two guard. We didn't go with that mentality as if, okay, we're going to take over this team. They didn't sweep last year. They won this amount of games. With us here, we're going to do this. We didn't have that mindset at all. And of course, Fab made that 100% clear the first practice in the first preseason game. So it was easy. It was easy to learn. It was easy to just immigrate everybody together. And to be honest, that really shaped the rest of my career, to be honest.
We heard a lot of the guys we've spoken to say that the practices were, for want of a better way of putting it, pretty brutal, and in comparison to games. And that, what was it like coming into that first practice in, I want to say August, but maybe early September in 2014? You just landed and you're getting to know the guys.
It's like you go to a job where you're the new guy. It's okay. I want to show them that I can play, but I also don't want to do too much. And those practices were intense. It was every possession, every up and down. Either it was 3-man weave, shooting drills, 5-on-5, anything. You always had somebody across from you that you were going to compete with. And I'm pretty sure Drew said it. You couldn't take a possession off at all in practice, or you get embarrassed, or you get thrown to the floor, or you get bumped, because we had some tough players on that team. You know how Chuck was, you know how Fab was, you know how Tomo is as well, and they didn't let anything slide because they had a goal, especially with the year before with the cup that happened with what happened with Leicester. It was always a chip on their shoulder that we're going to get it this year. And we didn't know, we kind of didn't know what the cup meant, but those practices were intense. They were really intense.
You certainly learned what the cup meant and what each piece of silverware meant. I mean, in your first season, you went on to do the clean sweep. And I don't know if did you grab the broom at the end of season party in this season? I feel like you might have had the broom at some point.
Yeah,
I think Eric snapped it, but our team manager Eric, or did he take it home this season? I can't remember which one it is. But I mean, you started something here. This was your first actually went on to be 3 straight BBL Cup finals and wins. I mean, did this feel to you like it was a statement for yourself, as a player? It's in your inaugural season as an Eagle. Ended up, as we'll see in the game tonight, being the first of
Mm-hmm.
3 Cup MVPs as well. You know, did it feel like you were going to really make your mark and continue on where you got to over those seasons, or was it just a game of basketball?
I think, I mean, for me to say that was just a game of basketball, that'd be really cliche for me to say. I think that game, personally, I felt as if I belonged to the Eagles' entire organization. I felt that that was the game that I finally arrived, that I proved myself and stuff like that. But going into it, I didn't have that mindset. I just wanted to play. Like, I just wanted to play. It was a chance for us to win a trophy, the first cup, the first trophy. And to be honest, my first cup and trophy of my professional career. But I didn't have a individual motive. I didn't have, individual goals or anything like that. I never have my entire career there. But Fab and Chuck, they really made it known that we need to win this game. And for about, probably when we made it to the semis, they made it quite clear that we'd probably be playing Leicester. We watched the game the year before at least 3 or 4 times of what happened, how the referees are going to be, how Leicester plays aggressive, and how the cup is just a totally different game than a league game. So I was well prepared mentally, but to be honest, you can't simulate that cup feeling in practice at all. But when it was over, I was glad that we won, to be honest.
I mean, as it turns out, it ended up being the Rocks as our competition in
Mm-hmm.
this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Rob Paternastro alongside Dan Routledge called the game at the Barclaycard Arena that's up
Yep.
next. But for you to have gone into that game and come out of it with your first piece of silverware as a pro and the MVP Golden Ball as well, that must have felt pretty awesome.
Yeah, to be honest, I was really more happy for the entire cup. I didn't even know an MVP was given at the end of the game until it actually happened. If you can go back and look at the video, I was shocked because I didn't know what it was. To be honest, I didn't know you get an MVP ball, you get this presentation with confetti and all that type of stuff. I didn't know that. I was just so happy because we talked about getting this cup so long, and it was just a sigh of relief, especially against Glasgow. Glasgow was a tough team that year. They had Sterling, they had, I believe, Teo was there, Kieran was there as well. They had a really good point guard, Jawan Johnson, I believe that was his name. But it wasn't an easy game. It wasn't an easy game at all, but I think our mindset going on, and we had this thing that nobody was shaving until we won the cup at all. So if you go back and look at that, our beers were just everywhere, and I think that was the biggest thing. I think Scott was probably the happiest to get that game over with so he can finally shave. But that shows to what type of team we have. We did something like that we set a goal. We wasn't going to shave it until we won the cup, and we were so confident that we could do something like that and look ridiculous for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I just remember
sure.
that actually. I haven't looked back at the end of this game when you do lift the cup, but I think everyone's going to look out for that now.
Yeah.
And then the next game that we've got when you're all clean shaven.
All clean, yeah, for sure.
It's a great game that I can't wait to get into. I think just before I let you go tonight, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us all.
No problem.
Unfortunately, of course, this season has been cut short.
Right
now, as we found out on Monday, cancelled in a unanimous decision across the BBL and all the teams. Usually, of course, we'd all get that last game of the season post-game chat. We'd get the chance to hang out and talk the season over at either the end of season supporters party or our end of season awards dinner. But obviously that wasn't possible this year. Is there anything you want to say to the fans? I know, many of them traveled to Glasgow for the trophy final. We had an incredible following there, and we didn't even really get a chance to celebrate that and bring that,
Right.
which will be the final episode of this first season, if you like, of the Nestins, when we get right up to that 2020 Cup, 2020 trophy win. But we didn't get a chance really to celebrate that and bring that back to the ECA in the fashion that we would have done otherwise. So what do you want to say to the fans?
Just I appreciate through that time. I know it was a tough week for everybody with the virus going out, no one knowing if the trophy was going to go on. A lot of people paid their money for the travel, for the ticket, and everybody that came from me, and I'm pretty sure from the rest of the team that were there, we really, really appreciate it. Because to be honest, if it wasn't for that crowd and that momentum and just that type of inspiration, who knows how that game would have went. A lot of things were against us. A lot of things were against us, and we were going against a good side as well. And with this stuff going on, soon it will pass. We don't know when it's going to pass. We don't know when it's going to get better, but eventually it's going to get better. So continue to support the Eagles, continue to support the BBL, continue to support whoever you want to support, because when things come back, everybody will feel normal as possible. So I just want to thank everybody that, that's watching this, that came to the game, and that continues to support, Newcastle as a whole.
Well, we've got a great game coming up. Fletch, thank you so much for joining us on the Nestin and being part of the series. Hopefully, when we perhaps get closer to that game, I know there's quite a few more trophies with your name scribed alongside them. We'd love to get you on for those perhaps as well, if we can, if that's okay.
Of course, just let me know.
And there's a 25 T-shirt behind me here, which perhaps people
can see
over my shoulder. I know for a fact that there's going to be lots of people voting for Rahmon Fletcher as one of my fan favorite 25 players. If you haven't cast your vote, by the way, I don't mean you, Fletcher. I don't think you're actually allowed to vote. But
I can't vote. I can go John Doe. I can put a different email or something. I can do it.
Friends and family of Rahmon Fletcher, jump on the website and vote for your favorite Eagle, and Fletch could make the 25. I'm pretty sure he's going to. Let's get into the game. Fletcher, thank you so much, and please stay safe, and all the best to you and all of your loved ones.
Thank you. You too. Thanks.
So we go back to Sunday, the 11th of January, 2015, and to the Barclaycard Arena in Birmingham. It's our Eagles against the Glasgow Rocks. Coverage comes from BBL TV with commentary, as I say, from Dan Routledge and Leicester Riders head coach Rob Paternostro. Stay safe, stay at home if you can, to stay alert, control the virus, protect the NHS, and save lives. And enjoy the game.
Hello and welcome to the Barclaycard Arena here in Birmingham. It's the first silverware of the season on the line here in the BBL. It's the Cup Final 2015, the Newcastle Eagles against the Glasgow Rocks. The two teams about to be introduced to the crowd here in Birmingham. I'm pleased to be joined by the man who's won this competition for the last couple of seasons. It's the Leicester Riders coach, Rob Paternostro. Rob, obviously a tinge of disappointment for yourself not to be out there, but you know what these two teams will be going through right now.
Oh, no doubt about it. There's nothing better than playing here in the middle of the season. Everybody takes a break, comes out here, gets a chance to watch you play. When you play in this game today, you have to believe, whether you're the favorite, whether the underdog, whether you're down early, you got to believe all the way so you get a chance to win the first piece of silverware.
Well, there is a question mark over the participation of Scott Martin. Earlier I spoke to both the coaches. My first question to Fab was around the fitness of their forward.
Well, Fab, Scott Martin picked up an injury in your last game. What's the latest on his health?
We're just going to throw him out there, see what it is. We had a short preparation, and he said he wanted to go out there and give it a go, as you say. So we're just going to put him out there and see what happens.
And obviously that's a big blow if he can't give you 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a blow in general. I mean, it hurt us to lose him. I mean, he's been playing phenomenal. at the moment, and you know he's a big miss for us at the moment. So you know, all fingers crossed he'll be all right.
And a rare defeat for you in the league. Does that give you something to bounce back from here in this cup final, or is it totally separate?
I mean, in all honesty, it gives us something to focus on. It gives us something in one way to bounce back from, but it is totally separate. I mean, you don't ever want to be in a situation where you want to get over your losses very quickly. And with the cup final being here now, you know, we ain't got time to worry about the things that we didn't do. We just got to concentrate on the things that we need to do.
And you've a tremendous record of making finals, not such a great record of winning them in recent years.
Well, I wouldn't say not such a great record of winning them because we won our fair share. But to be honest, I think that it just shows the league and how strong and how tough it is, and how, you know, on any given night, any team can win. And more importantly, when silverware is up for grabs, you know, anything can happen. And
the key to beating the Rocks?
Playing for 40 minutes and being able to defend them on a three-point line is key. You know, they shoot the three-point shot extremely well, and also keeping our energy high. We're going to have to make sure that we match, if not exceed, their energy. I do believe they're going to come out guns blazing, and you know, it's their first time here in a while, and I expect the unexpected with them.
Good luck. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
Cheers. Well, Sterling, BBL Cup final, big game for you guys. How's the preparations been this week?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I think we just kind of refocused and reevaluated everything that we've done, and just really put all our attention on this game right here, and we know what is up to stake for it.
And the way you've played through this competition, you must feel good every time you take the court.
Yeah, we've had a good road. We had a good road of teams that we've beaten, and the fashion in which we've done it. It's been exciting, and then it's also been very good performances we've put on too. So yeah, we feel pretty confident coming into the basketball game. We know we've got a tough test today, but you know, we're up for the challenge.
Yeah, Newcastle Eagles, I mean, they come to finals so regularly, they win so much, it's a real challenge for you.
It is, and everybody knows what they're about, what they can do. But, you know, we've got to focus on us and understand that, you know, it's going to take a very good performance from us. But I think we're confident enough and we have the talent enough to do that. But it's just about us making sure that we show up on the day to make it happen.
And, of course, you had the disappointment in the trophy final last year. You'll want to see the other side of that sort of game.
Yeah. I mean, we're fortunate to be in another final in consecutive seasons. But, you know, looking back on that one, after the game was over, you thought back and you realized how close you were. You want to take advantage of this opportunity this time and make sure that we walk out of here and feel like we've done something and not only been to a final, but coming out with a championship off of it.
And the key things you have to do to try and contain Newcastle?
We've got to stop the transition game. I think they really play a good game of runs. You know, they're able to put up 10, 12, 14 points in a minute and a half, 2 minutes succession. So we've got to make sure we do a good job of that and just make sure we make it a grind-out game. I think if you try to get into a tempo game with them, it works in their favor. So, you know, we're going to try to limit the runs that they have and do a good job of just controlling the tempo of the basketball game.
And from your own perspective, what is it you have to do really well?
I just got to do a good job of team management. I've got to do a good job of team management on the floor, and then making sure I turn off the coaching role and become a player once it's time to get on the basketball floor, because I think I'm a piece of this puzzle, and so you know, it's a challenge for me too. But you know, I'm up for it today.
Good luck. Thanks for talking to us. Cheers, Stella.
Well, both coaches seemed very relaxed in that pre-game interview. It was the one thing that came across to me. Let's get into the two team lineups, Rob, starting with the Newcastle Eagles. And when it comes to experience of big finals, nobody has more than the Newcastle Eagles. You look at Smith and Defoe and Flanoy and Lasker, they've all been there and done that.
Well, no doubt about it. Smith, Defoe, and Flanoy have been around so long. Three surefire Hall of Famers. If we had a Hall of Fame in the BBL, they have great experience. But look no further to Andrew Thompson, a guy who has experience as well. Last time he was with the Eagles, 4 trophies. I'm sure they're happy to have him in a big game like this.
He certainly will add to their firepower. And let's have a look at the Glasgow Rocks lineup. Not as much experience of the big games from this team, looking for their first medals, all except Sterling Davis in the BBL Cup. but they do have plenty of three-point firepower.
Well, they take 28 threes per game, most in the league, and I think that's going to be important for them today to knock down a fair share of them. But I think it's important for Kieran Achara to make the three-point shot. When you have a five-man center who can step out and make three-point shots, it opens up the floor for everybody else. So it'll be interesting to see what type of day he has, because he's been a little up and down from the three-point line. When he's hit the threes, they've played very well.
Well, he was very up in the quarterfinal, as you well know. It was that Hail Mary shot on the buzzer that knocked you guys out of the cup, and he said this week, let's not make that just a game in the history. Let's make it mean something by winning this cup.
Well, that's not a great memory for myself, but looking back on that game, it wasn't just that shot that he hit. Yeah, that shot was the big shot, but he played so well all game long. You know, he's a guy that can do so many things on the basketball court. He is 10th in scoring in the league, 5th in rebounding, 3rd in block shots. Not only can he shoot it from the outside, but he does a lot of things to help the team win the basketball game.
And the thing they did in that game, the thing they did in the second leg semifinal against Bristol was make a lot of three-pointers at a high percentage. My over-under really for them is they've got to make, say, 12 to 14 threes. Got to do it at a sort of 40% rate plus if they're going to have a chance here.
Well, no question about it, that's going to be important. But like Coach Davis said in the pregame, he said that they have to do a good job of stopping the transition break of Newcastle. And the transition break for Newcastle is usually set up by that suffocating defense they play. Look for them to trap a lot today, and they get a lot of points off of that. If Glasgow can limit the points off turnovers today for Newcastle, they have a really good chance to hold them to a number where they can come out on top.
Well, Newcastle Eagles, prohibitive favorites in today's game. They finally lost a game on Friday night in the league after 19 consecutive victories dating back to the opening day of the season. Only Worcester have actually beaten them. They've beaten them twice in the league this season. But Glasgow have something about them that on their day, they can compete with anybody, they can beat anybody. But 2 weeks ago, these two teams met. Comfortable win for Newcastle. You've got to say Eagles heavy favorites.
No question about it. I mean, they are. I mean, you just have to look at the records. You have to look at the numbers. When you look at Newcastle Eagles, 93 points a game they're scoring, Glasgow 78. But the point differential, Glasgow actually has a minus for them on the season, where Newcastle has a heavy plus. So yeah, they're the favorites, but I don't think there's anyone on the Glasgow Rock side that's going to concede anything today. When you look at their team, Sterling Davis, plenty of big games in his career. Kieran Achara, high-level European player, big games for his country. And Jawan Smith, a guy who played at the University of Tennessee. They were #1 in the nation when he played there. So there are guys on that Glasgow sideline that have been in big games before and certainly know what it takes.
Big hug from the two-player coaches. Warm embrace there before we get underway. And Dave Forrest shake of the hand as well. Well, Scott Martin hobbled out of Friday's game after 8 minutes, did not return. And Coach Lanoy says, I'm going to throw him out there and see what he has. And he's into the starting lineup. And we'll keep an eye on the ability of him to be able to move. That will be the thing. He's a big part of what they do.
No question about it. I think he's underrated around the league. I mean, coaches know, you know, players know, but I don't think because he's playing in this system, he gets enough publicity. He's one of the best players in the league. He can do it from inside, he can do it from outside, and I'm sure Glasgow will test him early, especially on the defensive end.
Well, a few guys just getting a feel for the ball there. Jones and Huffer both wanted a quick dribble of it before we get underway. And now we're just about ready.
Well, yeah, sometimes the balls in the finals can be a little slick. The brand new ball. Be interesting to see what type of ball there's out there today. You got to take care of it if it's slick.
Here we go then, Achara and Defoe, and we are underway. And it is the Newcastle Eagles bidding to end a run of 4 consecutive major final defeats and get themselves back into winning ways in these one-off games. They have, of course, won the league. Oh, Martin given the space. They trapped him and then left him open to the basket.
Nice job using the pivot foot. He didn't panic in there. Good job. That defense by Glasgow. Looks like Martin's okay to go.
There's Smith. Moves it on to Ogundengbe. Guarded by Martin. Back to Smith again. Offered the screen from Mbwamwu. Oh, he tried to zip it down the lane to him and Threw it a little bit behind. Turnover for the Rocks on the opening play.
Yeah, I thought he was open. It was the right idea, just poor execution. Watch for the Eagles today, trying to push the Rocks to the sideline, not allowing them in the middle of the floor. It's going to be important for Glasgow to get in that middle of the floor and try to break them down from there.
Rocks fans on the far side on their feet, as they always are until their team gets the opening basket. As Jones fires up for three, rebound for Smith, has Huffer ahead of him if he wants to use him. He does get it to Danny Huffer. And he's another one where those three-point shooters can get very hot very quick. Forced back out by Thompson. Tries it again on the floor, beats him for foot pace, and there is the first basket for the Rocks.
Down in the middle again. He got him down in the middle, and he got a mismatch with Thompson. Good job by Huffer, getting to his favorite right hand for two.
Thompson. Fletcher cross court to Thompson for three, short. Huffer with the rebound. He's pretty much on his own here, Danny Huffer, so he will recycle. Iguanu out to Smith for three. Doesn't go. Huffer might chase that down. No, he won't. Fletcher made sure of that. And it's out of bounds for a Newcastle possession.
With Iguanu in the lineup, they play a little differently than when he's out of the lineup. You know, not as much spacing out on the floor, looking for defense and rebounding from him. But when they have the four guards out there with Freeman, they become much more dangerous around the perimeter.
Lobbed in towards Thompson. Thompson underneath the basket. Help comes and the foul is called. Danny Huffer will be whistled for it. That basket will count. And Thompson will go to the line for a three-point play.
Well, Smith switched off on Thompson. It was interesting. Same thing happened on the other end of the floor with Thompson and Huffer. Huffer took advantage of that by going to the basket. But the guard, Smith, switched to Thompson. Huffer late coming over. Thompson with the layup goes to the line for one.
It's short, and Iguanu pulls down the rebound. Smith pushing it down court, little stop and go. Up top to Achara, fakes it three, puts it on the floor. Great pass as well. An easy two for Iguanu, but Achara's three-point threat created that.
No doubt about it, and he had the ability to put it on the floor, make good pass.
Jones with a little spin, had to throw it high over Achara. Good offensive rebound, but Thompson can't convert. Achara just about keeping it in bounds, and eventually Ogundengbe saves it to Smith. Smith drives in under pressure, overcooks that one. Martin with the rebound. He looks a figure of perfect health here in the first couple of minutes. That'll be pleasing for the Eagles fans. Jones' shot doesn't go.
Jones firing early, getting some quick looks and shooting them quickly. It's interesting that they have Jones on Smith. Jones usually guards the most dangerous player for the other team, and the Eagles think that they want to control Smith with Jones.
Won it inside. Ogundengbe blocked by Martin. It's going to be a violation if he doesn't get it off. There's a whistle there, and the referees will have to check that because the clock says 0 on the shot clock, which is what Dave Forrester is arguing. The referee, though, says the foul was first, and it's on Fletcher. It's always one of them. When it says 0 on the clock, you do wonder whether the whistle could have gone in time.
Yeah, and you get mad at your players for fouling at that point, too. They played really good defense. Not a good matchup for Teo, posting up the bigger Martin. Took a bad shot. But, you know, fortunately for Teo, he gets to the foul line.
He's long on that first one.
Well, for Rocks, good free throw shooting team. Third in the league at 75%. Teo, 70% from the foul line this year.
But it is often a little different playing here with that bowl behind. Normally when you've got seating behind a basket, it's flat rather than the sort of bowl shape that you get here at the Barclaycard Arena. Takes a bit of getting used to.
Look for Defoe now. They haven't gotten him the ball yet. They usually go to him early.
Jones loses his footing. Here is Defoe in the low post. Big matchup there between Kieran Achara and Darius Defoe. Two great British big men. Well, that looked a little behind Iguanu, but he got it from both his both the passer and his coach that he should have pulled that one in. 5-4. Just under 4 minutes gone here. Fletcher drives in. Fletcher through the contact, converts for 2.
Fletcher that going to that left hand and finishing. He does a really good job when he turns the corner. They got to watch that today. Got to not allow him to get in the paint. Real efficient player, Fletcher.
Smith wants it to Chara, gets it to him. So it's come all the way to the three-point line. They're in double team trouble, gets it out to Chara. Shot clock getting down, he gets it to Hogan. Dengley cutting to the basket. Will that bobble in? No, it won't. It's tipped away by Thompson to Martin, and here comes Fletcher. Fletcher, nice bit of dribble, that will count for Rahmon Fletcher. Fancy dribble work before going through the foul and to the line.
Yeah, he did a good job. He's so low to the ground, he's a strong guy, but he always gets back to that left hand, and that time he was able to do that to finish for 2. It showed the emotion when he made the basket. Here's a guy that was out of basketball last year, didn't play. Big pickup for the Eagles, bringing him over here. Not only can he be explosive, but he has a control about his game that I know they've appreciated this year. His first season in the BBL, doing a heck of a job running the show for the team that's first in the league.
Well, Eagles now leading by 3. Here's Freeman with his first touch, gets it onto Huffer. Huffer under pressure, gets it back out to Freeman. Freeman cross court to Huffer, lines up a 3, doesn't go.
And those are the ones in the games that they have won that they've made, especially early. When they make them early, you have to chase them out to that line, which opens up everything.
Thompson, halfway through the shot clock, moves it on to Jones. Lost Freeman for a second on the little pick. Martin at the elbow, he's so deadly from that range.
Loves it, loves that elbow. Good start from him. Catch, finish, good start from the Eagles.
And they lead by 5. Oh, Huffer's almost lost it there, he's recovered. Gets it to Davis. Davis puts the ball on the floor, and he hesitated to go left, which just rocked Defoe back a little bit, and he commits the foul.
Tough call on Darius. Looked like he moved the feet, looked like he played good D to me. He gets called for the foul. Smith had a quick break. He looked a little shaky bringing the ball up the floor without him out there. So Coach Davis gets him right back on the floor. But an interesting matchup to watch. Chara and Thompson, both guys similar size, similar skill set.
Davis's shot doesn't go. Chara with the offensive rebound. Ball batted about loose. I think it came off the Eagles last.
You looking at that matchup with Chara and Thompson, Chara GB player. Thompson never really got the call for GB. So you think maybe today's a day to prove something for him.
Freeman, long 2, doesn't go. Thompson with the rebound. Yeah, it's probably one of the bizarre admissions in recent years, not even to get a sniff of it. Here he is from the 3-point line. That's a little long. Davis chases it down.
Both teams struggling from beyond the arc so far. Nothing going down.
Here's Chara trying to go to work inside. Oh, great pass to Huffer. He got double blocked there. I think Fletcher is going to get called for the foul first. If it is him, it's his second personal foul here in the first quarter.
You know, nice play by Chara, and that's what also makes him dangerous. You talk about the fact that he can shoot the ball from the 5 position, but he also could put it on the floor and make plays. When you have a guy that's going to bring your 5-man out like that, not only can shoot it from out there, but put it on the floor and make the right decision, that's why he's very dangerous, and that's why this team has been much better since he's arrived.
And this is one of the things that when you play Newcastle Eagles, their first 3 substitutions invariably are Smith, Flanoy, Lasker, and you think, man, how do you deal with that? 3 guys who've got medals coming out of their ears, been playing for years, just experience, ability to change a game.
Well, maybe in years past, especially the last few years, maybe you looked over at their bench and you thought, hey, we got to get into their bench because, you know, it's a big drop-off. But not now when you bring those guys off. They're #1 in the league in bench scoring. 29 points per game off the bench, and nobody scores it from off the bench more than Charles Smith who is 6th in scoring at 18 points a game from the bench.
And the guys above him play 5-10 minutes a game more than he does. He did it just on efficiency levels. Nobody better than this man, a former Cup Final MVP, of course. Here's Jones driving in. That'll be a charging foul. And without even looking, you know it's going to be Tommy Freeman who's standing there, because he's just one of those guys that attracts charging fouls.
Well, he puts his body in front. I mean, sometimes as opposing coaches, you think maybe he's acting a little bit, but you have to give him credit for putting his body on the line. That was interesting there with Jones. Remember, he started the game struggling to shoot the ball from the perimeter, had the open look there, but because he missed a few, drove to the basket, draws the foul.
Here's Smith. Gets it back. Round the screen. Big screen it was too. Spins through. Davis is open. Turns down the three. Huffer desperate for it in the corner. Checks his feet. Fires it up. And it's one of them. Don't check your feet. Just shoot. And it'll be worth what it's worth when it goes in.
Good job by the Eagles to run them off the three-point line. And even the threes that they're taking are contested. The Rocks have to figure out a way to get some more contested threes, uncontested threes up.
Fab into the game for the first time as Freeman has it for the Rocks. Gets it back and round to Huffer. Davis fighting for position in the low block. They'll have to double him because it was on Lasker. Comes back to Davis, fires up for three. Way off the mark. That'll be a violation. It didn't even hit the ring. Well, I said Glasgow had to shoot at a good rate. They certainly haven't done that. No threes so far.
And not even close, the ones that are on the way up. But you have to give Eagles credit. Good defense, not allowing them any clean looks. Glasgow got to try to get out in open space and maybe get some transition baskets. 6 points with 2:48 left to go.
Freeman almost knocked that loose. Here's Jones on the low block off the glass. That doesn't go for him either. Struggling here in the first quarter, Jones, to get a shot to go. Smith with a little crossover, step back. It's tough to shoot over Martin, but that's exactly what he did.
Oh, he loves that step back shot. The more difficult, the better for Smith sometimes.
Oh, nice give and go. Lasker to the hole. Again, speed of Lasker. He looks so youthful, and he's still got those sprightly legs going.
Only playing 16 minutes per game this season, but in those 16 minutes, 6 points per game. But as you said before, the veteran experience coming off the bench.
Here's Davis set for three, and there's the first one of the game for the Glasgow Rocks, and it's a 1 point game.
Well, Sterling, when he was in the league as a young man, was able to go inside. Now he's more the outside player. You can't allow him to get a clean look because he does have a sweet stroke from beyond the arc. Another big guy that can stretch the floor.
Well, they almost came up with the steal there, Glasgow, but it'll be a Newcastle possession from the end line. Jones gets it, spins back inside, double team forces cross-court pass. Here's Martin at the top of the key for three. That's way off left. And Egwonu going to bring it forward. He moves it on to Huffer, round the screen. Davis. Smith. Smith penetrating in under all sorts of pressure, can't convert. Oh, good rebound though. He was third, fourth favorite probably for that Egwonu, but he managed to get it in.
Egwonu's been lively today, jumping on both backboards, trying to make plays.
And it's going to be a defensive foul on Freeman.
He didn't like it.
No, he didn't like it at all. I think it was one of those things, if Lasker, because he was moving the way of the ball is what he's saying there. But I think if Lasker hadn't lost his footing, the referee doesn't blow the whistle. Rocks are going to make some changes here as well with Kieran Achara. I thought for a second they were making a double substitution, but it is just Chara who comes in. Smith under all sorts of pressure, trying to draw some contact and not getting a whistle, so it's out of bounds. Glasgow ball, they lead by a point.
Now those out of bounds plays, Smith for years has been effective with that little play where he comes, sets the pick, comes out, gets the basketball, but the bigger Egwonu made him struggle to take that shot.
Rocks with the lead.
Smith to Achara. Freeman Freeman driving in. Shot clock getting lowered. One who has to fire up for 3 halfway down. There's Davis in with the offensive rebound, and he sticks it back.
Hey, who says I can't go inside? Davis showing all the muscles, and he's a strong guy. Big rebound, rocks by 3.
Smith with the spin off the glass, and he has the chance to tie it from the free throw line. A little word as well. And Charles Smith, ever the competitor there. He will go to the line, chance to level the game at 15.
Very rare you see Charles say too much. But he's has a lot to say right now. Looks like Iguanu had something to say to him.
I assume on the previous play down where he didn't get that shot off, there might have been a word exchange, and Charles Smith said, well, hang on, son, I've been doing this for years.
Yeah, my advice to anybody is probably to keep quiet around Charles, because if you ever want to keep a guy quiet and not wake him up, it's Charles, because we've seen him go on magical runs, especially here in the BBL Cup final a few years back against Plymouth, put on one of the best shows I've ever seen in the BBL.
Had the MVP award wrapped up before the first quarter was finished. He was so prolific in that game, just tore Plymouth to shreds on his way to a record-breaking performance. Achara fakes at the 3, steps underneath. They've chased the three-point line well, Newcastle, but here they've not lost Smith. Oh, halfway in. And they're going to have to throw one quickly. Feltch has a look. He fires it from the halfway line. Doesn't go. Well, as we were at the start of the game, so we are at the end of the first quarter. It is Eagles 15, Rocks 15, Rob.
Well, good job for the Rocks. It looked like for a while there they were in trouble with scoring. Figured out a couple things to do. Davis hit the big 3. Davis got the offensive rebound. So if you're the Rocks right now, you feel really good going in, tied at the end of the first quarter.
We're through 10 minutes here in Birmingham in the BBL Cup final. It is Glasgow 15, Newcastle 15.
So lots of thoughts coming in on Twitter. Big shout out to Daniel Robson. Nice selfie. You're in. You're definitely in. Big shout out as well to Rachel Goodall. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the BBL Cup final, where we are tied at 15. And Rob, you said at the beginning of the show that Glasgow had to prevent Newcastle from getting out in transition. So far, no fast break points for the Newcastle Eagles. You said Glasgow had to look after the ball, only 3 turnovers. They're ticking those boxes.
No doubt about it, and that's going to be very important to continue. When you look at the Eagles, you've seen them throughout the years, second, third quarter, really go on those runs. You know, you watch the StatCast sometimes, you watch their games, no matter who they're playing, it's close, but they usually have that spurt where they turn you over and get out on the break. So yeah, good job in the first quarter, but still 3 quarters to go to contain them. But with the Rocks, 3-point shooting, not great so far. You know, when you talked about it before the game, everybody's talking about it. They had to make a lot of threes, but one of eight to start the game and tie. So they have to look at that and say, okay, now it's time to make some.
The Eagles, by the way, 0 for 5 from behind the arc. Davis, that pass is broken up, but Achara gets it back. Shot clock now down into single figures. Oh, it's a bit far in front of Achara. He did well to catch, and he drives in, couldn't quite convert. He might get it back. No, Flanoy comes down with the loose ball.
Close to a goaltending there, I thought, but Defoe got over there and batted it away.
Fletcher drives in, a little behind Defoe, but he chased it down. Backing down. Oh, nice step under from Darius Defoe. And that's another intriguing little battle. They're all over the court, but that one, again, the Rocks have to win that battle if they're going to win the game.
He shoots 60% from 2-point range, Darius Defoe. 23 minutes a game, 14.7 rebounds.
Almost stolen away, might just get there. Good work. No, he was out of bounds. So the referee says they were both out of bounds touching the ball. So it'd be an old-fashioned jump ball, which means the possession arrow gives the ball to Newcastle.
Well, when you play the Eagles, you got to be strong with the ball. I thought Teo was a little bit lazy there with that spin move. So 2 possessions, a deflection that stopped the layup the play before, and now soft with the basketball. Eagles coming over with the trap. You have to grab it and hold on to it tight in this game. Make sure that they don't get those turnovers.
Fab Flanoy, one of the all-time greats of British basketball, looking to add to his winner medal. Nobody takes defeat harder than he. He won't want to taste that again, having been on the wrong end of the last couple of trips here. Lobs it inside to Lasker. He's a bit deep underneath, couldn't quite convert. Tipped down by Huffer, keeps it alive to Smith. Smith with the crossover goes past his namesake. He's still going all the way, coast to coast, Rahmon Smith.
Little Harlem Globetrotter move from Smith in the backcourt, in the front court, and took it to the hoop for 2.
Ties things up at 17. Fletcher breaks through, gets it back to Smith. Smith with the head fake, fires over Davis, a little short, tapped up by Huffer. And Glasgow walk it up court this time.
Nice rebound from Huffer. Huffer and Smith do a good job on the board. 7 rebounds a game for Huffer, 7 rebounds a game for Smith.
And here's Huffer in the low post. Yeah, he is a excellent, particularly defensive rebounder. He always crashes the boards to help out. The big, oh, somebody's lost the phone, and he jams it down.
Nice pass from Fletcher. Bad D from Glasgow, but Fletcher recognized that, zipped it in for Defoe for 2.
Smith behind the back, double team. Leaves Teo open. He's going to fire up for 3. Not a great attempt, and Lasker with the rebound trying to get the dribble back. And eventually Newcastle do get it over the halfway line. Into the hands of Fab. Defoe now from 18 feet, and there was nobody on his team going for the rebound, so it was an easy one for Glasgow to pull in.
Newcastle's trapping the pick and roll with Smith. Now the other guys have to make plays after the trap. Smith.
And here's Achara trying to do just that. Overcooks the 3. They've really struggled from behind the arc here. Here's, oh, what's he doing there? Fletcher threw it back to Flanoy when it looked like he had an easy score. Stolen away by Huffer. Smith won't catch him, will he? Yes, he will! Smith from behind times it, knocks the ball out of bounds.
You want to talk about a guy with a good feel for the game. No, he's not quick. Maybe his beard is a little gray. Maybe he can't jump as high, but he's smart and he has great hands and great basketball instincts. Big play from Smith.
Well, you could see he knew he wasn't going to get in front of him, so he let him go past so he could come from the other side, the ball side, to knock it away. And Charles Smith continuing to do what his team need him to do. Timeout called by the Rocks. They trail the Eagles by 2 here.
I think, Rocks have to recognize that trap on Smith. I mean, you look at the Eagles defense, and they do not want Juwan Smith beating them with the pick and roll. So they're trapping him, they're taking him out of the play. But he's done a good job so far of finding his teammates. But his teammates aren't coming through. Once you catch it out of that trap, you have to attack the basket because it's 4-on-3 from there. So right now, if I was in the huddle with the Rocks, I'd say, listen, let them trap, let them send 2 guys at them. You guys got to go out and make the play after that.
Well, on that last time down, they got a good look for Achara in the corner for 3, didn't knock it down. But as you say, they've been, if he can get that first pass away, which he's shown he can, there ought to be gaps for them.
Well, that's what the Eagles do. They really pressure you hard with traps, especially out top. And if you can get through those traps, then you have the advantage and you have to capitalize on it. Easier said than done.
Back out come the 2 teams here in the BBL Cup final in Birmingham. It's Glasgow 17, Newcastle 19. And it's an end-line ball which Smith will inbound for the Rocks.
Big shout out to the Hereford Academy, who are here as well. Come all the way from Hereford. Good to see you.
Freeman round the screen, gets the ball.
Passes inbound.
Huffer, tough shot for 3, and doesn't go. That's one of them the coach only likes if it goes in. Flanoy keeps driving and draws the contact from Danny Huffer. I think that's his second personal foul.
Yeah, Huffer's got to do a better job there, letting him make a tough running shot. Fab, 3 points per game this year, not usually looking to score. Last thing you want to do is put him on the foul line there. Make him make that tough running shot. He can make it, but you'd rather live with your chances there than putting him on the line for 2 shots. He's shooting 72% from the foul line this year.
Missed a couple of important ones late in the game at Worcester on Friday night, but makes no mistake here in the BBL Cup final.
And there's a good job from Lasker, denying Smith, making Huffer bring the ball up the court. Not comfortable at that, Huffer.
Finally, they do get it to Smith, but 14 seconds left on the offense by the time he gets the ball. Wanu has to fire up for 3, halfway down, rebound. Fab Flanoy. Smith for 3, hits! There's a foul called underneath, a pushing foul. I'm sure the basket will count. Yes, says the referee. Basket is good for Smith. And there's a pushing foul by Egwonu underneath. So Newcastle will actually get the ball back, having made a 3-point shot.
Tough play there, and that's where Smith is so dangerous. Yeah, in the half court, it's hard to guard him around the 3-point line, but it's almost impossible in transition when you're running back. You have to find him all the time.
And here is Smith round the screen, doesn't go. Chance for a 5-point play there. Newcastle, oh, Smith with the pull-up, 3! Knocks it down, and boy, did the Rocks need that.
Well, I'm not surprised seeing that, because he made a few like that against us. It doesn't matter where he is, Smith, he has the confidence to let it rip.
Oh, Lasker with the spin, beautiful play from Drew Lasker to the hole.
Giving him good minutes off the bench so far, Lasker.
Oh, Smith out to Huffer for 3, still won't go. They'll get another chance at it. It's batted back out to Freeman. Achara turns down the 3. Defoe chasing out, knew he had to challenge that shot and ends up committing the foul. And I think that's foul number 2 on him. He's certainly walking to the bench pretty quickly as Martin checks in.
Well, you know, when you look at Glasgow so far, they've done a pretty good job defensively against the Eagles, especially when you consider the fact that they can't make any shots from the outside. It's difficult when you're taking a lot of those 3-pointers to get back on defense. Glasgow's got to find a way to hit some 3s.
Smith, that isn't the way. Martin has it. Still going, almost knocked loose by Smith. Here's Charles Smith, stolen away. And Warner's looking for a guard, finding Smith to Freeman. Huffer's underneath. Can he get it to him? Yes, he can. Huffer had to rearrange that slightly, challenged by Charles Smith. And Glasgow struggling to get points on the board here. Here's Fletcher to the hole, lays it in. It's an 8-point Newcastle lead.
Well, one thing you don't want to do with Fletcher is open up the left hand. He said, here, Fletcher, go left. And when he has that lane to go left, he can finish in and around the basket.
That pass too far in front. Things getting away from Glasgow just at the moment, and Sterling Davis, has he called a timeout? I think he has, or is it just a substitution? It is just substitutions with Huffer and Smith sitting down. Achara thinks he's sitting down. They've only got 4 out there at the minute, and it's Bunyan's going to come in.
Have they used the timeout yet, the Rocks?
They've still got 1 left.
1 left, okay. He wants to probably maybe hold that one for the end, but it's a team right now that is in a little bit of trouble. I think it's going to be important these next few possessions. They don't want to let it get out of hand.
Here's Martin from behind the arc. Long rebound, batted loose, but Freeman comes down with it. Gets it onto Ogundenbi. Freeman drives in. Freeman trying to get it for Davis. Is fouled by Thompson. And it'll be an end-line ball to the Rock. Shot clock at 17.
Well, never mind the three-point shots that aren't going down, because they're not for Glasgow right now. But even the shots around the basket, they've missed some easy ones, and they've had opportunities to make the right pass, and they haven't. So sloppy play from them so far on the offensive end.
Here's Freeman. Oh, he's in triple team there. There was no way through. Here's Jones out in front of the break. Has it knocked away, and the foul will be called on Egwonu. And make that 3. We'll wait for confirmation from the table.
Not sure why you want to give away a foul there, you know, for your third. At 6'9", maybe have a jump up and try to block the shot instead of trying to strip it from the bottom. Because more times than not, even when you get it clean, the foul is called. It's a tough one for the referees to see. So I thought Egwonu could have done a better job of jumping up in the air and trying to block that shot.
It is eventually confirmed as his 3rd personal foul. No movement on the bench yet. And now I think Kieran Achara is going to check back in for him.
2 for 2 for the line.
And Smith is also just getting a very short break. Bunyan came in for him, he sits back down.
Dangerous time, like I said, here for the Rocks. Down 10. You want to get this back to a closer margin before halftime.
Smith drives in, gets it to Achara, he jams it down, he's fouled from behind, he'll go to the line for a bonus.
Well, that time he turned the corner quick, got into the lane, and made the right pass. I've liked the way Smith's played so far. And again, we talked about it earlier. Big-time player, college basketball, University of Tennessee. The big moment's not going to scare him at all. Some of the Rocks players look a little shaky out there with the ball in this game, but Smith's done a good job so far of not only making shots, but distributing the basketball.
Well, those two guys just came straight off the bench and combined for a slam dunk, and you can see the scoreboard seems to have failed. There we go. It's just come back right in time after the Rocks got that dunk, and an impromptu timeout is cut short. Probably not a bad thing for Sterling Davis, though. Just got 30 seconds to have a word with his guys without losing his timeout.
No doubt about it. Achara here at the foul line. Not only can he shoot the basketball from the three-point line, but a 5-man plays the 5 for them. 86% from the foul line.
Not bad, is it?
3-point play as Kieran Achara opens up his account. 7-point advantage now to the Eagles from Newcastle.
Here's Thompson trying to get it into Jones. Jones, good defense, great defense from Freeman initially, and Achara helped out too. Good stop. Can they get the score at the other end here? Smith with a tough step back, and that one doesn't drop for him. Doesn't tend to take easy shots, does he? Thompson left Achara on the floor there.
Thompson guarded up by Kieran. Back outside.
Jones, shot clock down to 6 as he fires up, and that's good for 3.
Nice
and
shot.
the lead's back out to 10.
Sorry, Daniel, nice shot from Jones. He struggled so far shooting the basketball, but now a quick 5 from him.
Well, that's his first field goal make of the game. His other points have come from the free throw line. Here he is. I thought he was going to fire up another one. So too did the ref. His hand went up to signal 3. Got so far into that shot fake. Here's Fletcher drives in. The foul is called. The basket is good. And Freeman is whistled for his second.
Oh, interesting there. Fletcher driving with the right hand, but he had to go back to the left and scooped it up, and Tommy Freeman looked shocked that there was a foul call. Had his hand straight up in the air, but maybe got him with the body. But Fletcher, a nice job of not only getting to the basket, but with a nice finish.
Well, Freeman goes to the bench, not a happy man. He wasn't convinced that either of the fouls against him were committed, but his opinion doesn't matter as much as the referees who called them. And the Eagles' lead is out to 13 right now. Glasgow needs some momentum here in the last 2.5 minutes of this second quarter. Davis. Head fake from Huffer. gets it back out to Davis. Shot clock down to 4. Davis has to shoot top of the key. It is stolen away by Huffer. Achara turns down the 3, says, hang on, we'll take our time because we've got 24 here. Smith drives in, tipped up by Davis, and it goes.
Nice drive from Smith. He wanted to foul, didn't get it, but because the defender had to rotate over to guard him, Davis sneaks in for the 2.
Inside 2 minutes. Inside 2 minutes remaining.
Less than 2 to play here in the BBL Cup final. Driving in, it's blocked. Blocked again, he got double blocked there, Fletcher. First Ogundengbe and then Davis. And Ogundengbe does enough for Chara's down court on his own. And he will flush it down again. And Newcastle's lead is getting smaller here as it's down back into single figures. Timeout Newcastle with just under 100 seconds to go here in the first half.
A lot of complaining from the Newcastle bench still about those calls. Be interesting to see how the referees respond to that. And they wanted to foul. Glasgow did a pretty good job of jumping straight up, I thought, on a couple of them. A good timeout, though, from the Eagles. Let's settle down a little bit. Let's 9-point lead. Run a good offense here. Be nice psychologically to go into the break with a double-digit lead.
Well, that's part of the thing, isn't it? You look at it, you think they're relatively comfortable. They don't necessarily need a timeout, but they understand the importance of the next 3 or 4 plays. You know, this game could be down to 6, it could be out to 16.
Yeah, well, you know, again, I'm not someone that loves to waste timeouts, but in a situation like this, 9-point game, you know, let's settle down, let's get ourselves together, let's have a little word with the referees, helps out a little bit, and then let's run the offense that we need. And Coach Forrester now having a discussion about the last few plays. So it'll be interesting to see now if Newcastle attacks the basket, if they can get the benefit of the whistle.
Back out come the 2 teams here. 36-27 in a low-scoring BBL Cup final. Actually has potential to be the lowest scoring second quarter if we don't get any more points. Although in all likelihood we would.
Rocks have 4 fouls now. You got to be careful. You don't want to foul them and put them on the line with something cheap.
Good Davis forcing Smith all the way out to the 3-point line. That was meant to be a post move.
And guess what? And that's what Davis is saying now. That's because of the bench. And, you know, again, you've seen it time and time again. The complaints come from one team, and then, you know, the next play, attack the basket. Because a lot of times you get the benefit of the doubt. It didn't look like too much there. It looked like the same thing that was happening the plays before. But Smith and Newcastle with the smart play to draw the foul.
Flanoy had plenty to say from the subs bench as the coach. And Dave Forrester, who's the assistant coach, who's standing up on the sidelines, also having a long conversation with the referee as well, as the lead goes back out to double figures, up to 11 now.
2 for 2 for the line for Smith. 8 points personal, 38 points now for the Eagles against the 27 of the Rocks.
Ogundengbe to Smith.
Second sticking down.
Smith drives baseline, tries that bounce pass across to Davis. The leg of Smith was in the way, and that puts another 2 seconds on the shot clock as it resets to 14.
Nice.
Oh, it's into Davis. He goes the opposite way, blocked by Smith. Chara had it knocked away. Did he? No, it came off him last, so it will be an Eagles ball.
Good block from Smith there. Again, feel for the game. Timing, good hands. But Davis has to finish from down there. It was a good pass from Smith. Unfortunately for the Rocks, Sterling unable to finish.
The whole team is here. So good to see so many young clubs.
Oh, they lost Thompson for a second, and oh, he couldn't make them pay. Chara with the rebound, and Thompson, frustrated with himself there, commits a foul. He knows he should have scored that.
Yeah, wide open underneath the basket. Should have went right up with it. Didn't. And also commits a foul. Not in the bonus yet. But because it's his second, I think they'll take him out. Just to make sure he doesn't get his third before halftime.
Fab Flanoy comes back in for him. Newcastle showing some full court pressure. Well, the two guards are. Ogundengbe is left open by Martin. Here's Davis backing down Flanoy. Two great veterans of the BBL. And Sterling Davis has his way on that occasion.
Nice move from Davis. Used the left hand that time off the glass to cut it to 9. One stop here, maybe a steal. Don't foul.
Martin trying to get some space, cross to Jones. Jones fakes the three, drives in, gets it up high off the glass as Ogundengbe tried to block his shot. Rocks can have the final offense here of this first half, but the best they can do is get it to single figures. Here's Smith. Smith fires up for three, doesn't go. Martin has it not loose. Newcastle come up with it. An excellent first half for the Newcastle Eagles, opening up an 11-point lead.
Good job. Their defense really set it up. They smothered the Rocks, didn't give anything good. But the Rocks' body language here at the end of the half doesn't look too good. Get them in the locker room and say, hey guys, we're in the cup final. Let's come out and let's enjoy this second half. Still a long way to go.
There certainly is, but at the minute it is the Newcastle Eagles who are on top here in Birmingham. We're at the half. It's the Glasgow Rocks 29, the Newcastle Eagles 40. Welcome back to Birmingham. We're at the break here in the BBL Cup final. The Newcastle Eagles leading the Glasgow Rocks by 11 points. Rob, the shooting numbers tell their own story.
Nice job from the Eagles. Done a good job on the offensive end, getting contributions from everybody, but their defense has forced the Rocks into 29% shooting, 2 for 16 from the three-point goal line. But individually, Teo and Huffer combined 1 for 10 from the field. If Glasgow has any chance to win this game, those two guys are going to have to come up big in the second half.
Well, Smith making his way back out onto court without his trademark headband on. Don't know, he's almost hard to recognize without his headband on. I know there's quite a few Rocks fans who've come here sporting the headband as well, but whether that's a sign of intent or something, he's taken the headband off.
I thought Smith done a pretty good job. He's 3 for 11. He's struggling to shoot, but he's made some correct decisions. The other guys are the guys that are going to have to come up big in the second half, especially when Newcastle traps Smith. The other guys are going to have to make the moves with the space on the floor and come up big. I'd also like to see a little more aggression from the Rocks right now. 20 more minutes left of this cup final. Leave it all out on the floor.
They certainly cannot go through the second half shooting 2 of 16 from the three-point line to have any chance here. Here's Ogundengbe, fakes it to 3, takes it inside, and they turn it over on the first play, and I'm not sure if he'll catch Fletcher, will he? No, he doesn't, and used his body well to see off the bigger man and lay it in.
Teo's got to shoot that basketball from 15 feet. Just looks off his game right now.
Nwonwu zips it behind Ogundengbe. Jones overcooks the lane. Martin can't quite pull down the rebound. Here's Ogundengbe, turned it over. It came off the leg of Huffer, and it was a pass from one teammate to another from about 4 feet, and they didn't manage to pull it off.
And Sterling Davis is all over Teo right now on the sideline. He wanted him to advance the basketball. Fumbling it all over the place. Not a good start for the Rocks.
Thompson backing down, shot clock at 5 as he keeps going. Now he spins off the glass, just too much on that one. And Achara gets the rebound and has a word with the official as he runs back too. Smith to the fall away. I don't think he makes easy shots.
No, he loves to fade away, but I'll tell you what, he's turned up the play. He has a little bounce in his step out there. Doesn't look afraid of the big moment.
Jones. Thompson. He wanted it lobbed over the top. He ended up coming back out. Martin steps underneath the challenge. His shot doesn't go, and Huffer with the rebound.
Push the basketball. Maybe you can get something to transition here.
Smith back and forth.
Nice.
Out to Ogundengbe for three. It's miles off the mark. Rebound to Chara. Good head fake, draws the contact. Oh, it just wouldn't drop in for him. Sent Defoe up in the air. Took the foul. We'll go to the line for two.
Nice play from Smith on that drive. A lot of times you tell your players, don't go up in the air before you make the pass. But Smith, very slick play, jumped up in the air and found a wide open Teo from three. Not even close, but good job from Achara with the offensive rebound. Get a chance to go to the line for two.
Well, interestingly, Ogundengbe went and got the ball after that call, walked out to the three-point line, shot a three and made it.
Okay.
As if to say, well, okay, I can do this. Let's get going.
Like I said, you look at Newcastle, their defensive philosophy is to send a lot of guys to Smith. The other guys are going to have to bury the shots when they're open.
Well, that one wiped its feet, but it did drop. It's back into single figures, so as poorly as the Rocks have shot the ball, they're still not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination. Newcastle not at their best. That's not the reason they're ahead, and Defoe can't convert.
Two easy looks, one from Thompson on the previous possession, that one from Defoe didn't go down.
Smith. In out, back again to the fall away, halfway down. Huffer can't knock it loose. Fletcher has it. Fletcher got the bump. Is that on Egwonwu? Because if it is, it's his fourth. And Davis's shirt comes off to suggest that it is. And, well, that might be the last we see of him for 10 minutes or more.
Well, one thing you like about Fletcher when you watch him play, a small guy that has speed, is he changes speeds. I think that's what makes him so difficult to defend. He has the ability to slow down, speed up, changing speeds.
Oh, good steal from Smith. He's off and running, and Thompson gives up the chase. He lays it in for two. 7 now between the teams. Fletcher for three, doesn't go. Rebound Ogundengbe, and here come Glasgow again. And they've got a chance now. Cut this down to 5. Well, that's a tough pass. Achara did well to catch it. Lays it in for 2, and this is right down now. Where's this come from?
Good job by Sterling Davis. He knows the Eagles front the post like that. Caught it, made a nice pass. Good catch from Achara.
Thompson hands it over to Martin. Martin drives baseline. Achara underneath is going to get called for the block. And I think he knew he was as well. He tried to convince the referee it was a charge, but he was never quite in position.
Good call from the official. Good drive from Martin there. Hands on the knees. Took a hard fall. You wonder how that injury will hold up as the game goes on. But so far, he's looked pretty healthy out there.
Well, it was an interesting exchange on the Eagles bench as Thompson sat down, and he had something to say to his coach. His coach had plenty to say back.
Well, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's true. As Martin converts them both from the free throw line.
Martin 86% on the season from the foul line.
As they go back out to the 7-point game.
Davis spins out to Ogundengbe, drives in, and all sorts of pressure called for the traveling violation.
Yeah, just not in rhythm. Not sure about a travel there, maybe just lost the ball. A lot of times when it looks like a travel, they call, but certainly Teo out of rhythm right now, whether he's inside or outside.
We are trending in the UK at the moment. Top 10 trends is the #BBL Cup. Let's keep that.
Foul called off the ball. I think Defoe for an illegal screen, and that might be his 4th personal foul if it is. And Fab Flanoy can't get his tracksuit bottoms off quick enough as Defoe goes to the bench.
Sits down.
Now when you look
No,
at,
it was Martin who was called for it, his second personal.
when you look at the Eagles lineup, smaller now with Fab in the game, both Defoe and Thompson on the bench.
Well, it's interesting, the way Defoe went to the bench and the way Fab came in, it looked like they thought it was his 4th foul, but Martin, the offender, Smith's got the speed to go past. Good block, and then eventually goes in for Smith. I think Charles Smith had a little piece of it from behind. Jones pushing, doesn't go, rebounded Chara. They can get this to within a shot here, Glasgow.
Nice.
Chara lays it in, it's down to only 3.
Here we go, a little bit of energy. Smith pulling the strings all over the floor. Good pass, but it's always nice when you have a guy like Chara who can catch and finish.
12-2 here at the start of the second half. 12-4 now after Fletcher makes a basket that Newcastle desperately needed.
Well, they look to be daring him to take that one. Good job from Fletcher.
Oh, Smith has lost his feet, but fortunately as he bounced it underneath, it caught Fab Flanoy and out of bounds for a Glasgow possession.
And that's what a good point guard does with Fletcher, a smart point guard. Team in a little bit of trouble, comes down. They've been giving him that open shot, and he said, hey, you know what? I'm going to take it. We need it. Takes it and knocks it down. But good job from the Rocks to come out and give us a game here. 5:06 to go, 5:05 to go. They're right in it.
Davis. Smith. This double team. Gets it away to Sterling Davis. Davis throws it up. Chara with the rebound. Davis tips it alive. They can't come up with it, Glasgow, and Newcastle get it back. Smith is going to fire this one for 3. Well, you almost expect it to go in. But Martin, can't clean up. Flanoy, though, with the offensive rebound, loses it on the floor. And they can go 5-on-4 here if they're quick. Davis fakes the 3, gives it to Ogundengi for 3. Doesn't knock it down, and Newcastle get the rebound.
2 fatigued teams right now, especially the Rocks. They had an opportunity to push it there, didn't, because Smith looks tired. Travel.
Is the call. Fletcher, I think, knew it as well. Well, Freeman going to come in for Ogundengi. Teo's struggled to find his shot here today. 0 for 5.
And the majority of those have been wide open. And now with Freeman on the floor, Glasgow will be looking for him to knock those down.
It's Davis who might knock one down from behind the arc. No, it's short, and they'll let that one run out of bounds for a Newcastle possession. 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter. The Eagles leading the Rocks by 5, and a timeout has been called in the game.
That timeout was called because Smith motioned to Davis that he needed a blow, and you could see that in the possession before when Flanoy was on the ground. Smith, so tired, couldn't even push the ball, looked over to Smith and said, hey, how about a timeout? Coach Davis signaled for the timeout.
Well, they go and sit down, and actually it is Smith who's doing a lot of the talking in that timeout, and now Davis takes over. But it is a challenge for the Newcastle Eagles. The way, particularly Smith, the way he's being pressured. I know it's a weapon you like to use. Put a pressure on the other ball handler for 40 minutes as much as you can.
Well, they've been trapping him in the half court. I mean, not really too much full court, a little bit of denial, especially when Lasker came into the game. Be interesting to see if they put Lasker in, maybe to work him a little more. But the shots have been there for the Rocks. It's just a matter of knocking them down. If Smith can handle the trap and not turn it over, it's, you know, again, I said it before, it's 4-on-3. Guys got to make the shots. The substitution of Freeman, you know, Sterling looking at him as a three-point shooter with that space to knock a few down, because the other guys really struggled from distance.
Teams making their way back out onto court. Just under 14 minutes to go in this BBL Cup Final 2015. Newcastle Eagles, runners-up in this competition for the last 2 years. leading the Glasgow Rocks 46-41.
One more. West Bromwich Basketball Club. Yes,
Fletcher again, it's that change of pace that you were talking about earlier, Rob, that gets him to the basket there.
No doubt about it. It's tough to guard because he lulls you to sleep, and all great guards have that in their bag. You know, to take on the defense that way. And what's nice about Fletcher, especially left, is he's able to finish around the basket, get to the line. I like the way he's played today. Very composed, takes what the defense gives him. 76% free throw shooter, 12 points per game, playing 30 minutes per game. The only Eagle in the 30s.
By minutes played.
Minutes played.
Not by age.
Not by age.
Yeah,
There's a few of them up there. Minutes played,
yeah.
the only Eagle in the 30s. A lot of balanced minutes from this team this year.
It is Achara, although part of that as well is the fact that they've been winning games pretty big, so they could rest their starters. Here's Martin inside, and he's fouled by Smith. That's going to be his second personal foul, and Scott Martin will go to the free throw line, shooting 2.
And as you see Smith there, hands on the head, sign of fatigue. But what makes Fab such a great defensive player, and he's been an all-time great in this league, is he can guard guards and he can guard big guys. And on the last play, Achara had him in the post, middle of the lane. Achara 6'9", Fab 6'3", 6'3 and a half on a great day, but he couldn't move him. Fab did a great job defensively, come up with the loose ball. Those are the plays that don't show up in the stat sheet. Yeah, he doesn't score a lot of points. Yeah, maybe he's not getting a lot of rebounds. But those defensive plays are why the Eagles can take the 9-point lead.
And they're winding. Oh, blocked from behind by Jones. He's chasing it back, but he won't catch him. And Jones with the block and lay-in. And the lead back into double figures now. And Flanoy with the foul from behind. But again, smart foul. Knew that there was an easy 2 there. Prevented that. Achara is a great free throw shooter, but he might miss one.
Sure, yeah. I mean, good foul. Nice play there from Jones. He's been their best on-ball defender all year. You know, remember, he didn't start the season with the Eagles. Made a change after the first few games. But ever since that he's come in, the teams look more balanced and given them another defensive player that could score too. But it's always interesting to see who he covers on the other team, because that's who the Eagles are looking to shut down.
Well, he did miss a free throw, so Fab saved his team a point there with that foul. Jones with the spin, nice. Dumps it off. Flanoy with the lay-in, but what an assist from Andre Jones.
He's got the guns out. Fired up Jones, playing with a lot of emotion out there. That's what you like to see.
Davis into Achara. He's double-teamed. He splits it, though, and he lays it in for 2. They're going to have to try and ride the big fella here, Glasgow, if they're going to get back into this game. That shot doesn't go. Freeman with the rebound. Here's Huffer. Huffer pulls up for 3. Knocks one down. Danny Huffer, his first triple of the game. Only the Rocks' 3rd in 20 attempts.
We talked about Teo and Huffer having to come up big in the second half.
Jones has it. Oh, he bounced it on the line. It's out of bounds. And it's a end-line ball to the Rocks.
Now Defoe and Lasker will check into the ball game. A couple baskets on the interior for the Rocks with Thompson and Defoe on the bench. Now Defoe back in, give a little more size and strength to guard Achara in there to protect the middle.
54 points to 47.
Well, Rocks got back to 3. And Achara had a look like he didn't know whether he was throwing a shot up there or a pass.
Well, they front the post all the time. And Smith thought that he would go towards the basket, and Achara didn't react right away. It's a turnover.
Here's Charles Smith. Wrapped up by Huffer. That'll turn the possession arrow. Newcastle will keep it.
154 remaining.
Martin Smith spins baseline, got blocked from behind by Davis, and Davis has his hand up to admit to a foul there. It's the second on the Rocks player coach.
And let me tell you something, as a guy who played against Sterling Davis, when he hits you, you know it. I think, you know, in all my years of playing in the BBL, he was the strongest guy, and he didn't even have to swing. You just run into him, and you felt like you got hit by a truck. And that time, he made no mistake about it. He was following Smith and caught him on the top of the head.
Well, he's still right up there in terms of strength in the BBL, even in his advancing years.
I don't have to worry about that now on the sidelines. I hope not.
Charles Smith makes the second foul shot, and the Eagles' lead is back up to 8.
And Smith looking fatigued. Now Lasker picking him up full court a little bit. Fresh legs coming in.
Charles spins off the glass, doesn't quite go, but Freeman comes up with it. Surely there's a foul in there somewhere. I think it's going to be Smith who's called for it. And Tommy Freeman will go to the line for 2. It's the first on Charles Smith.
The Eagles are, all of them, including their bench, are asking him to be on the floor. Going to be 2 shots.
The foul scored on Charles Smith. That was his first.
He didn't get very far into the shot motion because he got hit so hard. But the referee adjudged him to be going up.
.79% free throw shooter Tommy Freeman.
First point of the game for him.
12 points a game coming in. Attempting 6 threes per game at 42%. So a lack of output from Freeman definitely hurt the Rocks today.
If you look at it, they've only got 9 points off the bench. They've all come from Sterling Davis. They've only got 7 points from Huffer and Ogun Dengby in the starting lineup.
For a foul here.
And the foul is called. Sterling Davis, the offender, his third. And Charles Smith again at the free throw line.
Davis asking the question why there was a foul, and he was told that he had his hands on him, and immediately he said, I didn't put my hands on him. He was using the arm bar, but you could see that he was banging away with him there. That's where you have to release a little bit, because you could see the ref getting ready to make the call, and the last thing you want to do is put Smith on the line in a big game. 78% on the season.
Just keeping the Rocks at bay here, Newcastle, as Teo gets ready to check back into the game.
Smith now with 10 points. And one thing you can count on every year in British basketball is Charles Smith putting up numbers. And no matter where the game is, when the game is, he's going to give you that double-figure output.
And here's Rahmon Smith at the other end. That one doesn't go. And the lead can go back out to double figures here. Smith fires up for 3. Smith hits for 3, and the lead is 12 once again for the Eagles.
Unbelievable. Again, transition, hard to find him, but he just has done it time and time again.
And the pass too far away from Huffer. And you look back to the work that they put in at the beginning of this half to cut it down to 3, and you know, we're level now. We're right where we were at the start of this third quarter.
Yeah, and the Eagles look fresher out there right now. But again, Charles Smith, you know, I mean, here comes the pick and roll with Fletcher, tough to guard.
Deflected. Freeman comes up with it.
Good turnover there.
Ogun Dengby.
Tommy Freeman on the defense.
Huffer with the head fake, drives in, gets it to Freeman for 3. Freeman hits a 3. Boy, did his team need that. They need a stop here as well.
Said, whoa, don't forget about us, guys, got Rocks. We're here, and we're here for a reason.
Fletcher glances up at the clock.
Ticking
Down to 5 now. Here he goes with the spin. Forced away. Can he get a shot off? No, they can't. Good stop on the last play by the Glasgow Rocks. They cut it to 3, it went back out to 12, but that late shot by Freeman means they're only single figures behind here going into the fourth, Rob.
Well, they're going to need more of that. They're going to need Freeman and Huffer and Teo to come up with some big shots. A good job by Newcastle. On these type of games, you know teams are going to make the run, but Charles Smith did a good job not only getting to the free throw line, but with the big three to give a little bit of a cushion going into the fourth.
10 minutes to play here in the BBL Cup Final 2015. It's the Newcastle Eagles 60, the Glasgow Rocks 51.
I have to tell you guys that Leroy, as you can see, is looking a bit bigger than he normally does. He's just come back from his holiday, he's broken the trampet, and he's just a bit larger than he normally is. Okay? This is the first dunk that Leroy has done for quite a while. So he's going to need your help to make this dunk. He hasn't dunked in many a time. He's been on holiday. He's got a new Lion Cup to look after. Right, oh no. Oh, mate. What?
Fourth quarter about to get underway here at the Barclays Arena in Birmingham. It is the BBL Cup Final 2015, and it is the Newcastle Eagles, runners-up for the last 2 years, who lead the Glasgow Rocks by 60 points to 51. And the in-house mascot Leroy there trying his best to break the backboard.
Hey, Leroy, don't break the backboard, or you want the fourth quarter here? We're hoping for a good fourth quarter. If you're the Rocks right now, you're in the huddle saying, hey guys, leave it all out on the floor. We showed we can get back in this game no matter what happens. Stay with the process and keep it rolling.
Well, Glasgow shooting 34% from the floor. They are 4 of 23 from behind the arc. They are only 9 points down.
Well, you look at them and you say, guys, they're going to go in now. We know they're going to take them. We talked about them taking 28 per game. So they've taken 23. But, you know, right now, if you're a Glasgow fan, you're hoping that those will go down.
You just get the feeling that if they were to have like a 6 of 8 3-point quarter, well, here's they want him. We're back into the game on 4 fouls. Here's Achara. Puts the ball on the floor. He's going to leave it all out there, that's for sure.
You know, Achara always uses that fake, especially in the paint. Good job there of using that fake, keeping the defender off balance and knocking it down for 2.
Double-double for him. 16 points and 10 rebounds in the ball game. Martin
nice.
Out to Lasker. Open for 3. Knocks it down.
Wow, big shot. Nice play from Martin Lasker. Not having a great season from the 3-point line. 18% on the season, but that time knocked it down.
Here's Smith. Round the high screen. In goes Ogun Dengby to the basket. Can't seem to get the outside shots going. Maybe the attack in the basket will get him going. First field goal of the game, by the way, that for Teo. Zip pass from Fletcher, moves it on to Martin Smith at the top for 3, short. Long rebound is hauled in by Defoe. Martin inside. Oh, and it comes all the way out to Defoe, and Davis jumping up and down on the sideline that his team didn't come down with that defensive rebound. Not loose by Ogun Dengby, but a foul is going to be called.
Ooh, Teo didn't like that one. Bloody got the all ball. But the Rocks did a good job defensively, but you have to get that rebound. Good job from the Eagles chasing them down.
Thank you to everybody who sent in.
Martin's going to get a break. Jones is going to return to the action.
Scott Martin for the Eagles, replaced by Jones.
There's Smith. Remember, when he was on 4, can't really do much against Charles Smith.
Wow. It just goes on and on and on, especially in the big ones. And one guy we haven't seen for a long time for the Eagles, Andy Thompson.
Oh, nice. And it is finished off by Iwanu, keeping it in single figures.
4 points personal now for Iwanu, who of course has got 4 fouls.
Lasker driving in. Freeman did well. Back out to Smith, 4-3. Long rebound is batted down by Defoe towards where Lasker was. Unfortunately, Lasker was going where he thought the ball was going and out of bounds at Ruck's possession.
He's here today for his birthday along with 3 of his friends who are all very, very excited. Hope you're enjoying the game. Will Simmons, 9-year-old today, happy birthday from everybody here at the
Smith
BBL
round the high screen. He's double team, gets it to Iwanwu. Here's Achara in the corner. Freeman for 3. Doesn't bobble in. Ball is loose. And eventually Jones has it.
Jones does. And he gives it to Drew Lasker.
Defoe on the trail from 17 feet, strokes it.
And he has improved that shot over the years, where now you see him take it, you feel really confident with him knocking that one down.
Up by double digits.
Inside to Achara. Iwanwu hit one in the first half, doesn't hit one there. Lasker, he's on his own. Waits for the trail. And Fletcher for 3 doesn't go. Well, if that run is coming, it needs to come soon for Glasgow. They still trail by 10. Freeman drives in. Freeman trying to draw a foul. Nothing doing, and he missed the shot as well.
Good no call.
Jones, Defoe. That one a little short. Ball is loose. Achara picks it up off the ground. Points hard to come by here in the 4th quarter. Smith's 3 doesn't go. Freeman slips on a damp patch. Fletcher has it not loose.
Both teams look fatigued at the minute.
Smith's shot doesn't go. Lasker grabs the rebound.
And all of a sudden we've hit a barren patch for both teams.
Defoe with the jumper is short.
Doesn't go.
Both teams struggling at the minute.
Struggling to get up and down the court right now.
Struggling to get a bucket.
Is Smith, and there's a foul on his namesake Charles.
You can understand maybe the Eagles have a little bit of fatigue here. They played Friday night. Not a big fan of teams playing on the weekend of the Cup final.
So timeout is called by
It's interesting, I spoke to Dave Forrester, the assistant coach, about that last week, and they had to think about moving that game. In the end, chose not to, but they said the other thing was the last 2 Cup finals they came in, they had a weekend off and got beaten both of them. The last Cup final they won, they'd gone away to, was it Holland, I think it was, and played 4 games over Christmas in quick succession and fell in rhythm, I guess. It all depends on whether you win or lose the game as to whether that was a good idea before.
Well, for me, I think it's a no-brainer. I think when we come to these showpiece events, as a neutral, you want to see the team well-rested, well-prepared, and you don't want an opportunity to, you don't want a team to come here and don't have the opportunity to play with their full team. Martin, although he's played today, it was a concern coming into the game that he was going to be injured. So for me, I would love for these Cup final weekend, trophy final weekends to be clear. Both teams come in with the same schedule, not playing basketball games.
Well, as I say, that was an opportunity available to them. It's not one they took.
who is the world's smallest basketball coach.
Well, Coach Dave is trying to get the full value out of this minute, because with less than 6 to play, his team are in a 10-point hole. They have to find some way, somehow, of getting a run together.
One thing that the Rocks really don't have in their game, what they could use right now, is some full court pressure. I mean, you would like to, you know, with a 10-point deficit, as the time goes on here, you're going to have to make the game a little bit quicker, get some more possessions. We haven't seen them do that all year. And how, you know, the way they look fatigued, I don't see it coming. So they're going to have to be very efficient here in the next 5 minutes and 45 seconds.
Well, you could see the look on Achara's face as he came out from that timeout. As Smith fires up for 3, doesn't go. Rebound Lasker. Jones back to Lasker off the glass. And the Eagles lead is 12 once more.
Nice play from Jones there. A lot of times guys go up a little crazy trying to attack the basket. Good composure to find Lasker, who's played well today, finishes for 2.
Iwanu with the jumper, but they can't go basket for basket, Glasgow. Jones, they can't get caught in transition on a made shot either.
That's fatigue. I mean, they look tired. You know, when they came back in that third quarter, it looked like they expended a lot of energy, and they're even having trouble getting back on defense. They're having trouble making the correct plays, as you see there. Eagles, who played Friday, look like the fresher team, but they also have that bench, and they've rotated well today. Very important to give your guys a blow. I think in years past in this league, we've seen teams play 6, 7 players. Now, very, very hard to do.
Chara for 3, off the back of the ring, comes out to Ogundengi, thought about firing it up for long range, but didn't. Spins inside to the finger roll, it's off the mark, gets his own rebound. Blocked from behind by Smith. Egwomo can't convert. And eventually they managed to find a way of putting it in off the glass, but as I said, it's this end of the floor that they have to do it now, Glasgow. Time running out, they need some stops. There's Thompson, as you say, a long time since we saw him out on court, and he's called for the traveling violation.
Yeah. You talked about the discussion they had on the sidelines. He did sit there for a while, but now he's back in the game, and I see Martin get up, looking ready to check in at the next dead ball.
Ogundengi inside, and manages to find some wriggle room to the basket.
Down to 8.
Jones. Smith. Feel he likes this matchup. The double team comes to the turnaround, doesn't go. Not loose by Chara, but only as far as Jones. The Eagles can take some more time out of the game here. Fletcher.
Nice.
To Lasker. Big shot for 3, doesn't go. Need a score here, Glasgow. 3 would be nice. Chara goes inside instead, and it doesn't drop.
Yeah, we'd like to take him, you know, 3:15 to go there, down by 8, a clean look. Decided to drive and couldn't convert. And the other thing the Eagles have done a good job here is the offensive rebounding in the second half. They seem to be quicker than the loose balls.
Oh, nice crossover. Foul eventually called. But Fletcher there with a little shake went the other way. Martin going to come in for Lasker.
And I thought Lasker was giving him some great minutes, both ends of the floor. Full court pressure, defense, but also put up 9 points.
Off 4 of 5 shooting, also 4 rebounds inside. Martin's shot is blocked, and it came off him last, apparently, so it'll be an end-line ball to the Rocks.
And you don't want to get a technical foul now. 8-point game. Turn around, even if you don't like the call, get back on defense. Do your job.
Smith, stripped by Smith, and Juwan Smith diving on the floor, and the arrows pointing Newcastle's way.
Good hands from Smith. You know, lateral quickness right now not there for him too much when he defends. With the long arms and the great hands to come up with that play on Smith, and Smith looks a little shaken up on that dive.
Just looks like he might even have a bit of cramp in the back of his hamstring or something, the way he was slow to his feet. Well, the Newcastle Eagles fans over on the far side are making the sort of noise that teams or fans who think they're going to win make at this stage in the game. Of course, they do have nightmares of 12 months ago where they looked for almost the entire game like they were going to win, and somehow Rob Paternostro's Leicester Riders had a blistering last 4 minutes to win the game.
2.5 minutes remaining. Come on,
But Glasgow are going to have to find something even more impressive, I think, to get back from here. Charles Smith off the glass makes it 10.
Fab Flanoy, now he's up on the bench. Forrester sitting down, pumps his fist. Seen that time and time again. Big play from Smith in the finish.
And Monroe loses it out of bounds. It must have come off a Newcastle player last, because it is going to be possession to Glasgow. Look at Fab pacing the sidelines. I did say to him in the pre-game interview, you've not had much success in these big games of late, and he shot me down with that, because this guy's won more medals than anybody in British basketball, and he looks well on his way to winning himself yet another one.
Well, they've been the best team from start to finish today.
Oh, good block from Thompson. Here comes Jones. Jones to the finger roll, just had enough to get that over the lane.
Boom! He's strong, Jones bangs into Freeman and finishes. And after a slow start for Jones, played a really good game on both ends.
Charles Smith going to get called for the blocking foul.
And then the foul is called on...
They're up in arms on the Eagles bench, but there was contact there. It certainly wasn't an offensive foul. Fab. I think he's expended more energy on the sidelines than he has out on court, the way he's been pacing up and down over the last couple of minutes.
But it's interesting, he was sitting down most of the game on the sideline. But as the game comes to a close, up hollering instructions. With this lead, he wants to make sure that they hold on and grab this cup silverware.
It's the coaches that see what we can't see. When most of us think, well, 12 points, less than 2 to play, the coaches can certainly see the other team doing it. Wait, that can't be a backcourt violation, can it?
I didn't think so.
Because his foot didn't go into the backcourt. It was Jones's foot went into the backcourt. Well, I'm not sure about that one, but that's what's been given.
Once you cross the halfway line, you can't go back in.
Now you have to run clock here. It's pretty simple. Make them foul.
And now to compound it all, Rahmon Smith is called for the foul.
Not over the limit yet. They've still got another foul to give.
4th foul.
It is the 4th, though, on Smith.
On Rahmon Smith. Inbound pass.
Thompson for the dagger, no. Here's Hoffa. He has Freeman with him if he needs him. He goes on his own. Oh, couldn't finish it off, but Fletcher did foul him.
And for me, with 17 on the shot clock, 1:40 to go, you know, I know it's 12, but I want to hold that one and run it down a little more.
Yeah.
I don't want that 3-point shot going up because it gives him an opportunity to get out on the break. And if he had made that shot there, he could have cut it to 9, and we've seen stranger things. And that's why if you're the Eagles now, I mean, if you do the mathematics here, you just run the clock. 24 each time.
Yeah, and I mean, in all likelihood, fouls will come into it and they'll make them shoot free throws, but Newcastle don't even have to score another field goal here. Just run the time. Well, that was an ambitious pass that did get there to Jones. That's going to be, the referees are going to have a chat about this, are they? Yeah, they both call it an offensive foul.
Okay, so look, you know, 1:27 to go, with 1:40 to go or so, they had the ball. They've taken 2 shots in 13 seconds. That's where you want Jones to pull it back out, run the clock.
Huffer for 3, doesn't go. And now Smith, the veteran, surely will try and get his team to slow it down, and Fletcher likewise says, well, hang on guys, we're in no rush here.
As we approach 1 minute.
Fletcher, high pass to Smith for three. That'll do it, folks. Charles Smith in the corner has the icing on the cake for the Newcastle Eagles.
Charles Smith.
Oh, Smith at the other end hits a three. They can't trade threes though.
Smith. And suddenly, the Smith name is big coming up in
Martin inside is fouled from behind. And he'll go to the line.
Loads of time.
And every year the Eagles, you know, bring in talented players. You know, they have a great team every year, but there's one constant there, is that Charles Smith making big play after big play. When they're struggling, he comes up with the big shot. I've seen it time and time again. But when they're ahead, he puts them farther in the clear. And it's pretty amazing to watch. And every year, a guy who people look at and say, when will it end?
Must end this year,
It
surely.
must, but it doesn't.
It never does.
It never does. And to have a weapon like that, they've taken full advantage of it.
80 points to 68.
Well, unnecessary foul there from Thompson. It stops the clock and gives them 2 free throws.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this game, we'll be doing the presentations.
And the Eagles, who all sporting beards, that was their sort of team bonding thing until they win the cup final. Be interesting now to see, as they do go on to win the cup final, whether they keep those beards for a little longer as a lucky charm.
I feel for Smith a little bit today. You know, again, he missed a lot of shots, but I thought he showed up to play. I thought he had energy, and I thought, you know, all the energy he had to expend tired him out by the time of the end of the game. I thought some of his teammates didn't give him enough of a hand.
And the foul is called.
And there's Martin with a dunk. It looks like the injury's okay.
Yeah, it was. Slightly, it was one of those things that, as you say, playing the game a couple of days before a cup final, guy gets injured in the first quarter, you take him out, and you think, I'm not going to put him back in just to be sure. And then, you know, he actually is okay. And you wonder if it was late in the season, he probably goes back into the game.
Well, you know, today I had my journalist hat on today when I walked in. I wasn't a coach anymore. And I had a source close to the Eagles who said he looked fine yesterday in practice.
Yeah.
So we figured he was going to be okay. And a lot of times with an ankle injury or whatever it was, just give it a little bit of time and you'll be all right. There's no doubt about it who deserved this one today, Daniel.
I'm loving the fact you got your sources there. Rick.
I got sources. Journalistic hat on today. Doing a lot of research before today.
Newcastle can't quite run this one down. They are going to have to take one more shot. No need for a foul. It's Newcastle, after a couple of years of heartbreak here at the Barclaycard Arena, are going to have some celebration here in the last few seconds, because the Newcastle Eagles are the BBL Cup champions for 2015. They've won this one by 84 points to 71. A shake of the hand between coach and assistant, slapping fives between two guys who've been through so much together, and the Newcastle Eagles really, from start to finish, have deserved this.
No doubt about it. You know, they were heavy favorites coming in, and yeah, the Rocks battled them for a little bit, but when you watch the game, you knew there was going to be one winner. And the Eagles, both their veterans and their newcomers, turned up today for the first piece of silverware of the season.
And you look down at the numbers, Charles Smith with 21 points off the bench for them. Fletcher played well, 15 points for him, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Jones as well, contributing after a slow start, had 13 points. Numbers down the line.
And that's what, you know, it's been like all year for them. 6 guys averaging double figures. Each night it's a different guy. And I think when you play on a team like that, it's really satisfying to win these trophies. You know, a lot of times you play on a team, one guy dominates the ball, one guy's taking all the shots. But when everybody's involved, it makes it much more sweeter.
And we talked about Glasgow Rocks and how they needed to shoot the three-point shot well. They only made 5. They averaged double that. They took 30. That's just over their average. But you're not going to win a final shooting 17% from the three-point line.
Yeah, 5 for 30 from the three-point line, not good enough. I thought Smith did a pretty good job of finding guys, weren't able to knock it down. I thought Achara played pretty well today too. But, you know, for Glasgow, they played a tough team today. And that tough team is the Newcastle Eagles, who so far this season have done a great job of getting contributions from up and down the roster.
Yeah, Chara with 16 points and 11 rebounds, probably the standout statistically from the Glasgow Rocks point of view. But this is all about the Newcastle Eagles, who are dancing and celebrating as the presentation party gets ready to hand out the medals. And this is the longest 5 minutes of any basketball player's life here, if you're at the other end of the court watching on, just waiting for this to go through. And now we will get the presentation party about to be introduced to the court.
For the Glasgow Rocks and the Newcastle Eagles.
And the presentation party is coming out. Our MC in the house, Simon Hosanna, just introducing them to the crowd here in Birmingham.
And please give them a big round of applause. First of all, from Moulton, of course, the wonderful balls that they made. We ask it for Ed Lowy.
Ed Lowy from the sponsors. Moulton, the balls that they play with, is the first out. Also part of the presentation party is, I'll wait to see which order they do it before I say it. Yeah, it's Sharon Hodgson, MP, the chair of the all-party parliamentary basketball group. Certainly been making a lot of positive noise for British basketball in recent years. And she is, of course, an MP from the Northeast. So I'm sure she'll be pretty pleased to see the winners of this competition, but a woman who is doing a lot to bang the drum for basketball, particularly around the funding issues in this country. And then the BBL chairman, Ed Percival, also coming out for part of the presentation. And it is the Glasgow Rocks who will go up as runners-up to claim their medals. Well, Rob, fortunately you haven't had to do this too many times in your career, but you have, as a player and a coach, had to go get these runners-up medals. What goes through your mind?
Well, I mean, you know, you're disappointed. It's simple as that. You know, you can say, hey, hold your head up high, you tried, but you're disappointed. You had an opportunity to win the big game, and you look across the court. I think what hurts the most is when you look across the court and you can see how much fun and how happy the other team is. You know, if the other team wasn't there, it wouldn't be that bad. But when you look across the court and you see the smiles and the dancing and the hugging and the kissing, it makes you feel even worse.
Well, of course, Fab Flanoy, tears in his eyes a couple of years ago when his team fell short in, I think it was the cup final. It was certainly one of the finals here, but none of that today for him.
Well, with Fab today, not many minutes. Usually in these games, he's played many minutes, but today he stood on the side and let the other guys go. Only played 13 minutes. But this team that they built this year is deeper, stronger, and as you see so far, they've done a great job as this season has started.
Well, they're going to do the MVP before they give out the Newcastle Eagles medals. Rahmon Fletcher named MVP, 15 points for him, shot 6 of 11 from the floor, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals as well. It was a tough pick for Newcastle because they had many good displays.
Yeah, for me, I was surprised. I thought maybe Smith would grab it with the output, but when you look at Fletcher's game, it's not just about numbers, it's about control. And last year, maybe they thought that they didn't have that control in the backcourt at times in the big moments. But today, make no mistake about it, they were able to give him the basketball, and he, more times than not, made the right decisions to win the basketball game.
Well, he gets the golden basketball, and now the Newcastle Eagles can get their winners' medals. And Jones, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for him. Another one who would have been in consideration for that MVP award. Thompson, Matthew didn't get any court action today. Andy Thompson, well, quiet afternoon by his standards. Darius Defoe, the big man in the middle. won so many medals with Newcastle Eagles. And Martin, the injury concern before the game, but none of it during the game. 10.7 rebounds. There's Fab. And Drew Lasker did a great job off the bench for them today.
Well, when you watch them play this year, watched a lot of games that they have played, and what jumps out to me is that they're not worried about who's shooting. They're not worried about who's getting the numbers, and that's what it's about as a team. You can see that, how they appreciate each other's game. So, yeah, maybe today this guy didn't get that many shots, or this guy didn't score that many points. But throughout the season, it all evens out, it all balances out, and so far, that's been the winning formula for the Eagles this year.
Well, here's the moment that the Newcastle Eagles have been waiting for. The moment that's eluded them for the last 2 seasons on this court, but not today. Charles Smith, the captain, points to the Eagles fans, wanders up to the middle, gets his own medal, and then gets the cup, holds it aloft for the cameras, and the ticker tape flies. Charles Smith, yet another winner's medal for him. The guy just keeps on winning. Now he's going to dance in the middle. He certainly enjoyed himself out there.
He's old school dancing out there, but no, he's been phenomenal. And again, today he was there not only with the points, but with the blocks, with the steals. And it's great for these new guys to come in and see a professional like that who makes play after play in big games.
And of course, whoever wins the first trophy of the year, people start talking about the clean sweep. Newcastle Eagles leading the league, having the cup in the bank. They're certainly the team to beat this season.
Well, no doubt. There's a lot of teams that will, look forward to playing out the rest of the season. But when you look at where we are now, there's no doubt about it that they've been tough, and they have the veteran leadership, but they also have that injection of youth. So I like the way they're balanced this year. But the league is tough, long way to go, and health is going to be important for all teams.
It certainly is, but today is about the Newcastle Eagles, BBL Cup winners. Next week we'll be back to BBL Championship action, where Cheshire Phoenix take their 10-game winning streak, looking to equal a club record at 11. They're down at the Pavilions taking on the Plymouth Raiders. Join us for that one. Promises to be a cracking game. Here it's all about the BBL Cup champions, the Newcastle Eagles. They've beaten the Glasgow Rocks 84 points to 71. For Rob Paternostro, I'm Daniel Routledge. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.